Autism spectrum disorders. Autism spectrum disorders include a wide range of disorders with varying functioning levels, depending on the individual. A disorder is considered to be on the autism spectrum when an individual has limited functioning social, emotional, and intellectual capabilities. These disorders are typically noticed by a parent or guardian when the individual is at a younger age, around 2 or 3, as they are not connecting emotionally or they have shown trouble communicating. Classification of it was divided amongst the 5 different diseases: Asperger's syndrome, pervasive development disorder, childhood disintegrative disorder, classical autism, and Rett syndrome. The differences were mainly in the functioning levels. Since 2013, the terms have been abandoned in favor of the all-encompassing term autism spectrum disorder. Common characteristics. As I mentioned before, social interaction is an area in which they struggle. So, common characteristics for students with autism spectrum disorders would be avoiding eye contact, trouble adjusting the volume of their voice, difficulty sharing, and they may not respond or ignore the environment around them, such as if the teacher tries to call the student's name, they may just ignore them. Communication issues. Their speech development is usually behind that of their peers. They will make unusual grammatical errors for their age. They repeat words, either their own or what someone has just said to them. And they have difficulty starting and continuing a conversation. Limited and recurring behaviors. They have limited interest that they will hyperfixate on. They develop their own routine, which is in a day they will find different patterns in their life and they will try to stick to those patterns and create their own routine. And they will prepare for events that could disrupt their routine. And if the routine is disrupted, they will usually become very upset. Common classroom accommodations. Physical accommodations. Keep your classroom clear and open. Avoid distractions. You can avoid distractions by setting the student in the front of the classroom so that they're able to focus on the teacher better. And try to avoid, when decorating the classroom, try to avoid overtly distracting classroom decorations, such colorful material that's just really distracting. Instructional accommodations. Give them extra time to complete tests or assignments. Set personalized goals. Try to work with them personally, and just try to get a feel of what level they're on, and then you can set individual personalized goals that they can try to reach, and that way they will be able to keep up and try to reach different educational goals, social, just make sure they have the proper support, which is if they need an aide or any kind of peer tutor, anything like that, just make sure they have the support that they're comfortable with. Be clear with your instructions. So be to the point and clear in what you're saying, the directions you're giving them. Try not to use overtly flowery language. Encourage students to communicate in the ways they feel most comfortable with, either verbally or typing, just whatever they're most comfortable with. Strategies for differential instruction. A teacher can make them a schedule. Like I mentioned earlier, they find the different patterns in their life and they'll find the routine, they'll stick to it. So making them a schedule would be very beneficial. You can outline their daily tasks and activities and prepare them for schedule changes in advance. Like I said earlier, they become very upset if something unexpected happens and they're not prepared for it. Okay, routines and procedures. Be clear and concise with directions. Break down assignments to more manageable and understandable sections. So if you give them a complex or a long assignment to complete, try to break it down into smaller areas that they can easily manage. Connect their interests with what they're learning. Try to get to know your student, find out what they're interested in, and then you can take that information and try to incorporate it in the classroom. And take information they already know, connect it with the new information you're trying to express to them. Encourage participation. They have trouble socially, but try to encourage a level of participation that they would be comfortable with. Show them examples and demonstrations of the material you're trying to teach. and have them practice regularly. After you find out, what works for them best, just to make sure they practice it and keep up with what they're doing. Priming is another way, which is sort of like scheduling, except that it's more on a micro level because you give them the information for assignments or activities in advance so they can prepare. These are the sources I used to complete this project. Okay.